Test 1, 2. Can you hear me now? Ooh, I just heard myself. You guys can hear me. Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So I apologize about that. I'm sitting there talking away and you guys weren't able to hear me because I was playing with audio settings trying to get something to work earlier today, but it's something I still have to play around with more. It's not working and it messed up my system settings. Great. I'm glad you guys can hear me. I appreciate that very much. I'm echoing. Is that better? Okay. Okay. Whew, had me worried for a moment. Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate that, everybody. So what I was saying is tonight is tonight it's a big thank you, and it's not only thank you for being here, it's a thank you to you for supporting me at the channel and subscribing and being part of the first 200 plus. Um, I know I didn't get on Saturday night when I went over, or excuse me, Sunday night when I went over 200. And I did talk about it last night when I was on John Q that I was going to do something this week about that. Um, but and that's tonight. What I originally planned was not good was going to happen tonight. I'm still having to research some more, so that's going to be postponed till Wednesday or Thursday this week. Depending on how the research goes on that for the next couple days. Because if anybody had noticed earlier today, this said something different than it is live now. I'm looking forward to growing, and I'm trying to grow the channel. Muffin Top, thank you very much for coming out. Cosplay, Carrie, Double Rainbows, The Man Above, I thank you all for coming out. Hopefully, we'll have more coming along in just a few moments, saying hi in the chat. But tonight is going to be a limited open chat. Tonight's going to be a limited open mic. Some of the conversation we're going to take directly from the chat. Thank you very much, the man above. I appreciate it. Boss Man Blake. Thank you very much. Boss Man Blake is going to be one of those that has an open invite to come up and join me. So is John Q. Obviously, I normally do when they show up in my chat. They're welcome to come up. We're having an open night where if there's any lives or any crime stories that you've not been hearing covered, and you want to get shed some light on them, in a few moments we'll be getting into that. I'm going to actually start with a couple different things. I just ran across this story right before I went live, and it tore me up. It's not the reason I'm a little bit late tonight. That was actually because I was eating dinner. But while I was eating my dinner, I ran across the story, and it actually tore me up a little bit. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a trigger warning on this one. We're going to start off with it, though. And then the rest of the night is going to be not as serious. At least I don't think it's going to be. But we are going to talk about crime stories throughout the night. But we're going to start with talking about 7-year-old little girl who was outside of earlier in Atlanta, Georgia, I believe it is, Phipps Plaza, just outside of Phipps Plaza. And Bossman Blake's more familiar, so he'll be able to tell you if that's correct. That sounds correct. If I have the right area. 7-year-old Kennedy Maxey, who just 4 days before Christmas in 2020 met her demise from a stray bullet. And guys, if I hesitated when I'm saying this, is because I'm actually still working through reading up on this, and I probably will do a story at some point bigger than just what I'm mentioning now. The man that fired that shot today was sentenced to life without parole plus 15. Life plus parole, or sorry, life without parole plus 15. It amazes me. And here's the thing, I'm just going to come away with this tonight. It just amazes me that if a story comes out into national news that a 7-year-old got killed, you fired a shot in the vicinity of that location, that you have the callous and the lack of empathy for her family, not just for her, but for her family, to come forward and say, I'm sorry. Not even the fact that you're going to go to jail, but a 7-year-old, you don't have the empathy to come forward and say, you don't have to search, it was me. You shouldn't have to search, you should understand. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. And the sad thing is that the news does not show. Yes, there's a story about it. This is how I found about it, but it was a local channel to Atlanta. Now, granted, Atlanta's a major city, but still, I've never heard about it before I ran across that one news story. That one news story. I can't imagine the lack of empathy, the lack of I just don't even have the words. The audacity of somebody not coming forward. Thank you, John Q. I appreciate it very, very much. But the audacity of somebody not coming forward. When by the article I found, it says that it's been all over the news. It was all over the news when it happened, that she was badly injured. And later on, from her injuries, met her demise. It's a shame. If something were like that to happen, and he turned around and came forward and said, I'm sorry, and it was a mistake, and he came up front and said, this was me. As tragic as it is to say a 7-year-old met their demise from it, I'd be understanding that he got lesser of a sentence. I don't know all the details, so I'm not going to sit here and say the punishment fit the crime. I'm just saying that at this point right now, I would have understanding if he had come forward when it happened to speak and say, it was me, and I'm so sorry, and sit down with the family and say, after he turned himself in or before he turned himself in, and beg for their forgiveness. I'd have more compassion for him. I'd have more understanding for him to have a lesser sentence. But I'm definitely going to be looking into that. And that's exactly where my channel, and what I want my channel to be, or it always had been one, always had one of my channel to be, is to look into those smaller cases, those cases that aren't making national headlines, to shed light on them. Just yesterday, ran across and I shared with a couple of people that are my mods. Shared with both Carrie Lawson and Cosplay. Carrie because because I know her circumstances, and Cosplay because she has children that are becoming of the age of driving. They, and I'm not going to, there's a TikTok going around. Let me see if I can find it again, or I can find the link to it again. I'm going to show you guys this. If you're a single female, or if you have kids that are of driving age, there's something that you need to be very, very wary about. And it's a TikTok, and I'm going to show the whole TikTok in a moment here. Even though somebody else did post this on YouTube claiming it's their own video, I don't think it was. The person I found it on is the Sons of Thunder on TikTok. And bear with me just a second here. And as I share this video, I'm sorry, I just got it up, so hang on one second here. There it is. Beware of this. And if you haven't heard this or seen this before, make sure this gets spread around. Make sure people are aware of this, because this is what's happening these days.
I found one of these on her car in the exact same spot, back passenger door. I didn't know what it was. I just kept cutting it off. This morning, when I found it, I went in there and I asked her, I said, what's the deal with the zip tie being on your back passenger handle every morning? For the past 3 mornings, I've cut it off. She said, Dad, I don't know what in the world you're talking about. She said, I didn't know there was a zip tie on there. I said, yeah, there's a zip tie. So I was talking to my brother just a few minutes ago, and I told him, I said, man, 3 mornings in a row, I found a zip tie on I ain't going to say her name, but my daughter's back passenger door handle, black zip tie. It's loose, but it's on there. And he works in law enforcement. He's been in law enforcement his whole life. And you could tell when I mentioned that, he got extremely silent. And he said, what'd you just say? And I told him, and he was like, listen, man, cut that off right now. I said, I have been cutting them off. He was like, sex traffickers and people that basically steal women, vulnerable women, put them on a car somewhere where it's not easily noticeable for them, but other people who actually do the stealing knows exactly what that means. So basically what this is, you all, is this is a tag. And this alerts anyone who's part of the organization, I'll call it, of sex trafficking or kidnappers, abductors. Let them know that that person is vulnerable, they are by themselves, and they're an easy target. So if you've got teenage kids, girls that are out late at night, that are driving, check their car every morning. Look for a black zip tie or anything that stands out. and immediately remove it. This is the third morning in a row. Night or zip tie.
Black zip tie on a door handle is a signal to those that are involved in SA trafficking, human trafficking, that this person is vulnerable. And I let it play through, and I paused it, or I stopped it right at. I brought it all the way back to. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, where it is actually listing 10 states. 10 states, the highest rate of trafficking. Ironically, as many people suspect about Summer Wells, Tennessee is not on that list. But if just in case you can't read that list, I'm going to read it off. Nevada is the leading state with 7.5 per 100,000. Mississippi is 5 per 100,000. Florida is 4.06 per 100,000. Georgia, 3.82 per 100,000. Ohio, 3.8 per 100,000. Delaware, this actually, when you think of the size of Delaware, this number is just blow your mind for a moment. 3.77 per 100,000 in Delaware. California, 3.77 per 100,000. Missouri, 3.77 per 100,000. Texas, 3.61 per 100,000. Michigan, 3.60 per 100,000. Again, the highest rate is Nevada at 7.5. And that's what the statistics say on the screen. It astounds me that this day and age, something as simple as a wire tie is being left unnoticed. I mentioned this when I first presented this, I showed this to my mods about the reason that somebody was taking, or people were taking a crushed up or slightly mashed up water bottle, just like you buy at the store for $1. Just mash just a little bit, just enough to make it where it's flat enough to sit on top of the tire. And then if you don't pay attention to it, they're leaving it out just far enough that they can see the cap of the bottle. If you're not paying attention to it and you start driving off, their hopes are that it's going to go forward in front of your tire, be smushed by it, and make the pop sound. Make you think that you're going to be you just blew out your tire, in hopes of one or two things. You're now in a vulnerable position that they could possibly lure you away from your vehicle, to one, either steal your vehicle with the car keys in it, or number two, they're going to try to do the same thing. They're trying to kidnap you for the purposes of SA. I'm not saying any of this to be like make anybody scared. I just saw what Cherokee said, and she's absolutely right. it's not. I'm not trying to be. Please do not let this for you. Don't let this make you agoraphobic. But instead, it's exactly as Cherokee Girl saying, please be proactive when out in public. Know your surroundings. Remove earbuds and headphones. She's exactly right. It's these kind of things. If you see that water bottle, man, I'd be backing away. If you don't go looking around your vehicle for these things, you got to start doing so. You got to start doing so. John Q, Bossman Blake, if you guys are still here, I know you were in here earlier or not. I did say I was going to invite you guys up, and it was going to be a limited invite up. We're just going to kind of have a open mic type of night. It's not to congratulate me or anything, although I appreciate it. It's we're going to take, or at least I'm going to take questions, or we're going to take topics from the audience about true crimes and things like that that we may not necessarily always talk about in our lives. And we're going to have that open conversation that everybody deserves to have. So if you guys are still here, I appreciate you guys joining me. Not calling you out or trying to put you in a spot where you're not familiar with. But I thought it'd be something something fun to do to thank everybody that's been with me so far and has joined me and put me over 200 subscribers. Laura Croft, thank you very much. Muffin Top, I did see you come in as well. I appreciate you guys coming up or joining us, coming in tonight. All right, John, I appreciate that. But like I said, tonight, my plan for tonight was it's about you. If there's a question about a crime or a story we've been covering, or you've not heard, or a story that you've not heard in national news that you think deserves to have a national spotlight, tonight's the night. Tonight's a great night for it. Yes, and Carrie, thank you. Thank you. That's not just from Carrie, that's from me as well. And thank you to all of our subscribers. Now, granted, guys, if there is a topic that you have a question on, we may not have an answer. We may have an answer. So please don't think anything of us of it if it's something that we can't answer on, or we don't have information on to answer. We're going to be honest, or at least I know I'm going to be honest. I know John Q is going to be honest, and if Bossman Blake's around, he'll be honest as well about it. We're not going to sit there and pull punches on you. Hello, Oreo. I appreciate you coming out tonight. Sorry about being muted there for a moment, guys. I was taking a drink of soda, and I didn't want to hear you guys hearing ice in the soda bottle and everything else clanking around. I'm bad about having ice water and clanking, playing with ice. You can ask Boss Man about that if he's around. But let's see. I'm glad he's here. And just to start it off, everybody knows any true crime stories are open to discuss. I'm glad for one thing that has recently come out that the police from I'm drawing a mental blank of the town name. So if anybody wants to come up with that in town, this town name, please do so. But the police that are investigating the disappearance of Michael Vaughn have finally come out and said that both parents have been 100% eliminated from a suspect list. Is Pepper Spice, how are you doing today? It's a great thing to hear that because it's been for so long that it, what is his name? Michael Vaughn's dad was not eliminated as a suspect until earlier this week or last week when they had a press conference and said that he is not a suspect at all. Neither of the parents are. Yes, that's it, Cherokee. Thank you. Fruitland, Idaho. Fruitland, Idaho. Cherokee. Wow. Cherokee girl, thank you very much. That is an awesome tip. We were talking about just a couple moments ago about the water bottle and the zip tie. Tyler, thank you very much. That's his name. But Cherokee girl, that's an awesome tip right there. Most law enforcement will tell you that once you get into your vehicle, lock the door and have the vehicle in gear in under a minute or so. It's actually a really good rule of thumb. I would go as far as to say within a few seconds of that vehicle being put in gear, you got to be moving. You got to be moving. Pat Wicks, thank you very much. I appreciate you joining us tonight. Tonight we're actually having a semi low key night where we are talking about true crimes and other things, and we're just celebrating my subscribers tonight because I went over 200 subscribers, which most channels that's nothing, but to me that's a lot. It really is a lot, guys. I can't underestimate or you can't underplay how much that means to me that I have 200 subscribers. Or more than 200 now. I'm sure we all know about Michael Vaughn. Does anybody not know this about Michael Vaughn? Oreo, thank you very much. Muffin Top, thank you very, very much. Mr. John Q.
Yes.
Thank you very much for joining me.
Yes.
I know it wasn't expected. We had talked last night on your live that it was going to be on a totally different topic.
Yes.
Than what I'm doing tonight. Unfortunately, I was having some research issues, and I had to table that.
Oh, okay.
But
well, congratulations. Congratulations. I saw the numbers today. I said, okay.
I'm getting there. It's getting there. Take your time.
Working.
Absolutely.
You're working. You're
Absolutely.
working. Much love to the chat. My goodness. Congratulations. That's the way to go. That's the way to grow. And when you got the family to support you and stick with you and run with you and, help grow your channel, it's truly amazing. So I remember when I hit my first 200, before I even started, I had, I think, 89 people. As soon as I opened up my channel, I said, where these people come from?
Hmm. Well, I mean, I kind of the reason I'm doing something about 200 is well, 100, the first 100 went, it didn't go by so quick, but it was so once I hit 100, it was like I was already up to 150. And I was like, well, I'm not going to do anything about it yet. I'll wait till I get to 200, and I'll have. I had planned on this a long time ago, so it was kind of just going to be an open chat, open conversation type of deal, which I had already decided back then. And I was originally going to do this on Wednesday, but like I said, I was having research issues, and so I switched it up. What I'm planning on doing either Wednesday or Thursday now
Right.
was what I was going to do tonight, and I just reversed it.
Okay. Well, you're a content creator, and you can allocate your schedule the way you need to fit, you know, um, the environment, to fit your schedule, to fit
Hmm.
the content you want to present. So it's a wonderful thing that, and good evening to the chat. You
Phoenix
guys are
Fire.
on fire. You guys are on fire tonight. My goodness. Phoenix Fire's in the house. Carrie Lawson's in the house. The man above is in the house. Cherokee Girl's in the house.
Phoenix
Boss
Fire. I want to
Man
thank you
Blake
very
is in
much.
the house.
Phoenix Fire.
Oreo is in the house. And my love, Miss Double Rainbows, is in the house.
Yep, yep.
My
We're getting
goodness.
there. Getting there.
Cosplay is in the house. Muffin Top is in the house. Uh-oh. 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 Yeah.
When you mention cosplay, you always got to mention Oreo.
Okay. They go together, right?
Yep.
They
Yep.
go
They do.
together.
Yep.
That is good. That is good. But you'll definitely get to you're surpassing a milestone, which is fantastic. The next goal is 300, and then you'll say 400, and then you'll start to jump to 500. There'll be a point where you hit the jet stream, and the jet stream can take you anywhere between 500 above 1200 in a shot for some strange reason. It happened to me, and I said, oh, where do all these people come from?
I think it's that you just start to get that attention that it's like, okay, this person is actually legit. They figured out what their platform is going to be, and their what their target, not so much their target audience is, but they actually have, they're starting to garner that attention where this person knows what they're doing, and they have a good point, and they're at the breaking point where they have a comfort level being behind the microphone, and it's just like a proving ground type of deal, and it just takes a while to get there.
Right. And as long as you stay on the logical path, I call it, you
Hmm.
know, where whatever you're covering, whatever content you're covering on your case, as long as you stay the logical path, like will attract like. And there are some people out there in the YouTube streets that know that there is a lot of noise and a lot of nonsense out there. And then when they can come across a channel that is focused, that is rooted, that's pointed in a very specific direction. I like to consider everyone intelligent, and they use their intelligence to say, hey, enough of the nonsense. I want to get down to some straight news, straight facts, someone that's making sense of something maybe complicated, such as some of these cases that we're covering. And, there's a part of them that wants to get and become a part of that focus,
Hmm.
So, and then those are the ones that, step up and, come out of that that great big YouTube ball, we call it, the globe, the YouTube globe, and we'll join you. And if you've got something positive to say, focus to say, things that make sense to say, then yeah, then word gets around. Hey, have you heard about RJ's Conversations living room. Oh, no, you should check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I look at it this way, and it's a tribute to who I'm attracting as far as an audience. When America True Crime, I want to say hello to you, and I have a couple people that are new to me tonight. Please do not think I'm excluding you in this, or even though I don't mention you.
America
But
True Crime.
But when I sit here and look at the audience members I have, and just even before I opened up a channel, you have Muffin Top and you have Laura Croft and Carrie Lawson, CP Cosplay. She was not familiar with the true crime community, but you know, uh, Cherokee Girl and anybody else that I haven't mentioned, the people that are in the chat tonight right now. When you go to these other channels, and you sit there and you just sit back, and I'll go to other channels and I'll lurk. I'm a big time lurker. I'll watch channels like you won't believe just to get a feel of what's going on. But when I start noticing certain names in there, I realize that, and this is a tribute to the people. Like I said, this is a tribute to the people in my audience. When you have a very serious content creator, it's a small group, a small core. I'd say maybe 50 to 100 people. I know that's a large number, but when you look at the audiences that are in and the people that are subscribed to channels, that's a small core. When these names start showing up in those channels, and they're consistently showing up in the channels, and you're seeing the same names in the different in these different channels, you realize that these are the ones that are the heavy hitter followers that are sitting there, and they're like, they know their stuff, and if you're not on your mark, they're not going to pay attention.
Right. Let me ask you something real quick. Do you see my avatar?
Yes, I do. You're playing pool.
Okay. Well, that's what I always do. But when I go back to the original chat page on your channel, I don't see my picture. How many of y'all see my picture in the chat? Because I just refreshed and I'm like, okay, where am I? I see my name. I don't. Cosplay says she doesn't. I don't. Okay, see? So I know I wasn't going crazy. I'm like, okay, I'm up here, but from the live chat on YouTube, I'm like blank, you know. So people hear my voice, but they say, "Oh, we don't." Well, it's John Q, but he never got up on panel without his picture, you know. So what I'm going to do is, if you can take me off the panel,
All right.
and let me refresh, and let's see what happens, and then bring me back, and maybe that'll clear it up.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
All right. So John Q's backstage, guys. He's going to work on getting that fixed. Yeah, I could see that he has his normal avatar, but you guys couldn't see it. Wow. Yeah, Phoenix. I've noticed that about StreamYard. It does that to me sometimes if I go onto somebody else's panel. I think he's flashing me to say he's back there now. Let's see here what happens. John Q, are you back? You're muted if you are.
Yeah, I'm still working on it.
Oh, okay. My apologies. I brought you back too soon then.
It's like, yeah, I'm still working on it. It's like, okay.
All right. Let me go ahead and drop you back then. I apologize about that.
Okay, I'll just hit the link. If you could drop the link in the chat, maybe I'll hit the link and kind of refresh.
Hopefully that'll do it too. All right.
Okay.
Let's see here, guys. Just bear with me a moment here. Miss Lorraine, I saw you in the chat. I want to thank you for coming out and joining me. And America True Crime, thank you. I had a very good live with Nita the other night. Again, folks, I'm being limited with who can join me tonight with the link. If you have a question or you want to ask a question, please let me know. If you don't feel comfortable with asking it on a live, I can understand that. You can type it into the chat yourself. Muffin Top, I appreciate that. And actually, I have to give Carrie and Cosplay a lot of credit for that, because there's a lot of times where I will sit there, or there's been multiple times that I've sit there and said, I'm struggling to find X. Can you find it? Or I'm finding this, or am I understanding this correctly? Or do you guys see it differently? And and these two will definitely say to me that if I'm getting off a center, they'll reel me in. But at the same time, if I'm questioning my sources or questioning the information I find, they're 100% right there to say, hey, look, we're finding the same thing, or you might want to look at this. And, so Phoenix, who's cosplay? Oh, really? So I owe them a lot of credit for my success so far, and going forward as well, because there's been a couple times where usually we're on the same page, but there's sometimes where I'll suggest something, and they're like, well, wait a minute, I don't think that's right. And they're great at researching and finding out if there's something, if it looks the other way. They're great at giving me information to help. So as much as this is my channel, it's also their channel. What all cases am I working? Well, we're always still following on Summer Wells. We haven't talked about, but had not for a while talked about Michael Vaughn. We had talked about him at the bit when it was that was happening. Let's see. We're keeping an eye on Megan Boswell, waiting for her court date to come up, and I believe that's actually in January now. I have to double check the dates. If you don't know about Evelyn Boswell and what happened to her, I'll be more than happy to do a quick update on that with you tonight. There's not much that has changed since the last time I did an update. Let's see here. We're obviously following Kylie Rodney. Let's see. Michael Vaughn, Kylie Rodney, working with John Q and Bossman Blake on the round table. So sometimes that's not something that you'll know. I don't know what may be coming up next to that until about maybe a week before it actually happens. Let's see. I'm always open to new stories as well. So I try to pride myself on finding the small stories. A story that I keep looking for that I don't find any information. A small story. I'll answer that question in just a moment. American true crime. A small story that I found and I've not heard a lot of content on, and I'm constantly looking for updates on, is Azan Lisby. And those who were with me when I started talking about Azan Lisby will know that I was extremely, and I still am, extremely upset with the whole Amber Alert system and how it needs to be changed. It needs to be made better. Because, you know what, let's just dive into that. Let's dive into that right now. Azan Lisby was a 2-month, not 2-year, 2-month old baby who it was either the same day or the day after he was born, went missing. And it had this was the case. This was a story out of Florida, and it only ever managed to have an endangered child alert on him, not a Amber Alert or anything like that. It was just a endangered child alert. And it turned out that his mom, and I know I have this saved on my computer already, so bear with me a second here. His mom, birth mom, and his believed to be a father had went and ran off with no known reason. There was no Amber Alert, although they did know what vehicle or license plate. The reason that I could find that there was no Amber Alert was that he was with his parents. This is the mom and the dad. Of course, they didn't have a picture of the child. Missing at 2 months old. I believe it was Fort Pierce, Florida. They did find him with his parents. Now, here's the kicker of the whole entire story. His parents, after they found the baby in the custody of the parents, was later arrested. When I say later arrested, I mean 5 days later were arrested. And they have been since charged or being held for. I have not found anything saying any sort of charges or found any sort of court dates on these two individuals. But the reason there was an endangered child alert put out on Azan Lisby, and the charges that are pending on these two adults are for the demise of an older sibling of Azan Lisby. This is a case that's not being publicly mentioned much. I've not been able to find any sort of court filings in Florida. But this is a case, a child's name and parent's name that if I didn't erase my search history because just routine maintenance type of deal that I do for myself, I guarantee I probably search for them twice a week to try to find information on these two. But they went driving around Florida, avoiding police and everything else like this, living out of their vehicle. Until they were found and arrested, and the child services in Florida stepped in and took Azan Lisby away from them. You asked who hosts the roundtable? It's a conglomerate. It's something that John Q actually had started, and he'll be back and he can give you more information on that. Cherokee girl, I'll make a remark about that in a moment. When John Q comes back, we'll talk about who's all involved in the roundtable. I am involved in the roundtable, or at least my intent is to be involved in the roundtable. I know Bossman Blake is, and I forget the other person that's confirmed to be right now. And I don't want to give out the wrong name or drop a link that is for the wrong channel. So we'll wait for John Q to come back if he does come back, or when he does come back. He might be restarting his computer. But I'll type the name so you guys actually, I don't know if you can see it on my screen or not, but I'll type the name in the chat so you guys can check out the name of the baby. Because when you do, his parents' names does come up as well, and information about them. I've only ever seen a total of 4 articles written about this. About this child that went and what happened with the I believe it was about a good month that they were looking for them. No, there's not. I happen to know that he was put into child services in Florida, the state that he was living in. But as far as there being a lot of follow-up information, there is none. And I can understand he's at this point, he's 7 months or going on 7 months. So John Q, welcome back. So I understand there being not a lot of information on him, but there should be more information on the adults, especially with them being involved in the demise of their of an older sibling of Azan Lisby's.
There we go. I look much better now.
Is it fixed now?
I look much better now. Yeah.
Yeah. I see it
now. It's like, okay, I'm not used to having John Q like a white dot up there, and it's like, okay, we know that's his voice, but I'm used to seeing the brother.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, on the StreamYard.
The man above said, "Oh, John Q's got OCD tonight about his avatar." I was laughing too.
Unusual on the studio side of it, we were seeing it, so we didn't even think twice about it.
Yeah, you just kept letting me talk and whatnot. This is, oh, John's got a white dot tonight. I'm not going to say anything. I'll let him notice it.
No, but on the studio side, we were seeing it. So, and I'm watching the studio side of things. So,
yeah, I saw me in the studio, and then I saw, me on the platform. And I'm just going back and forth between, the StreamYard studio and then the actual live on YouTube. And I said, wait a minute, why aren't I showing up? I'm sitting up here refreshing. Nothing's happening. I see that little broken picture symbol up in the left-hand corner. I said, let me pop back off and just switch gears here for a second. But not to get off subject, though. I'm back. I'm fresh. I'm here. So. And thank you all for welcoming me back. Man above us in the
Absolutely.
chat room, he laughing. He said, "Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. My brother John Q is on point.
Well, now we know.
He making
Now,
sure he come proper."
right, exactly. And he's just like, now I know for sure it's him. But we were just talking about some of the smaller cases some of the cases that I've worked on over the past 4 months, and I was mentioning this particular one because it's the smallest case, not only for the age of the child, but it was the least covered case.
Yeah, 'cause I've never heard of these cases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how I say that I like to shed light on the small cases. I really mean I like to find and shed light on the small cases.
Right.
And it wasn't an abduction, although it was very suspicious that it was not long after birth that they had disappeared with Azan Lisby.
These are dated, February 16th, 2022.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't reported that he was missing or endangered until he was 2 months old. And the story says, the information I found, that it was within, I would say within 48 hours of him being born, that they disappeared. They just dropped off the face of the earth for a while.
Now, all three of these individuals that you're sharing with us right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Azan Lisby is now approximately, so this was back in February. He was 2 months old at that time. So we're looking at, he's going on 9 months, 8.5, 9 months old.
Mm-hmm.
And
now, Joy Tyler and Robert Lisby went missing as well.
so, yes and no. It was more of they dropped off the face of the earth. After they got out of the hospital, they went and packed up everything they needed in a car and went driving around Florida.
Okay.
And no follow-up visits, no follow-up checkup visits or anything like that a baby or a mother would need within the first 2 months, shall we say?
Right.
That had been knowingly done. And this is how they reported Azan Lisby as being endangered at that point.
Mm. And this is out of Florida. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
St. Lucie.
Yep. Never garnered a Amber Alert, and I was going to go into was, what is the criteria of an Amber Alert, because that's actually been in question today. That's actually been in question today if you watch YouTube.
Right. So an Amber Alert never went out on nothing on this case.
Correct. It was only ever a endangered child alert.
Endangered child alert. Okay. I guess they didn't have a vehicle to say that the child got into a vehicle to actually issue an Amber Alert.
Correct.
Just endangered. Okay.
Yep. So I'm going to stop sharing these photos for a moment, guys. I'm going to take a look and look. Like I said, it's. Hang on 1 second here. For some reason, it wanted to keep sharing it. If it didn't, although it wasn't showing it. So it's become into question today, especially today. What is the criteria of an Amber Alert? And I'm not going to sit here and point out names, but there was confusion of what the national criteria was and what somebody said was the criteria, which is Tennessee's criteria. If you guys can see that, please let me know clearly. I'm
Nothing
sure
yet. Nothing yet. Now I see it. Okay. Summary of Department of Justice recommended criteria. So this is their criteria for an Amber Alert.
Mm-hmm. This is actually the criteria for an Amber Alert that comes from amberalert.ojp.gov. This is the government website for an Amber Alert.
Okay.
And it does allow for individual states to make adjustments, because this is only a recommended criteria. This is no law, no anything like that. It's just a recommended criteria. So individual states have the ability to say, we don't think that this is important, but we think that this is another item is more important. Okay.
Right.
To be in place.
Right. So Florida, in essence, according to this, the summary of Department of Justice recommended criteria for an Amber Alert. As you can see, item number 1, there's reasonable belief by law enforcement that an abduction has occurred. So according to that premise, Florida doesn't believe that the child was abducted.
No, because he was actually with his birth mom.
His birth mother. Okay. So hence,
and possibly be his dad.
Endangered child alert. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why but still, I'm sorry, it has to be better than that, because I'll explain it this way. Weather right now has a spotlight on it. As urban spread happens and technology gets better and better, we're noticing certain kinds of storms and situations occur more frequently than previously expected. Tornadoes happen, dust nados, or whatever they want to call them. They have another name for the storm, and they have another storm type that they named that comes out of Canada during the summertime. I don't know the names of it all on top of my head. That's why I trust people like Ryan Hall for weather information. But my point being is like technology is advancing, and they're noticing where they previously did not notice. Like storms were happening, tornadoes were happening in areas that nobody lived in, so they didn't pay attention to it previously. But now that people are spreading out into larger places, they're having to pay more attention, and they're more dangerous, or the level of damage and danger that these storms are actually occurring are sometimes worse than they actually believed at one time. So they're same with the pattern within, let's just say, Classic and Sincere. What are their parents' names?
Jacqueline and Trezelle West.
That's the names. Mm-hmm. Thank you. More and more times are they finding out that the parents are doing things to their children. The prime example is the Wests. They're arrested and they're waiting court dates.
Thank goodness.
Absolutely.
Thank goodness.
Absolutely. Thank goodness on that one. But my point being is that, even if it is a parent, there's got to be an adjustment to the Amber Alert system, because sometimes it is the parent.
That's doing all the shady stuff.
Exactly. Exactly. And well, Azan Lisby and his parents, what they're in jail for is the demise of an older sibling of Azan Lisby. But that story's not getting national attention.
Right. One of the things I know that we're learning just by covering a lot of these different cases, RJ, is that we see how proficient law enforcement is when it comes to a missing person. That's for sure. Regardless on what state they go missing in, we see how they respond to a missing person, what they do, what is their protocol, what are their procedures, et cetera, et cetera. Let's take, for instance, Summer Wells.
Mm-hmm.
When she went missing, obviously the sheriff's department was, Hawkins County Sheriff's Department was notified, search and rescue was notified, emergency services was notified, Canine was notified about Summer going missing.
Mm-hmm.
And so the tradition is get everyone that they feel is specialized in some kind of way, law enforcement that is, to search. This is a visual, kinesthetic search of another physical human being. They don't take into consideration a possible abduction yet, or foul play yet, or any of the other trafficking, or any of the other so-called items that a person can go missing from. They are traditionally handling it like, okay, they went missing for a little while. They're somewhere around here, and that's how they blanket their procedures. Or commence their procedures to blanket the area, knock on doors, talk to people in the neighborhood. Have you seen so and so? Have you seen little Summer? Have you noticed the blonde haired, blue eyed 4-year-old, 5-year-old who's maybe wandering around this area? Is how they traditionally handle it, up until they get enough information to even glean upon the aspects of, well, we looked for at least 5-6 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, give or take. There may be a possibility of some of these other items on the table that may have occurred: an abduction, trafficking, somebody's got her,
Mm-hmm.
you name it. So that's how they traditionally handle a missing persons call, so to speak. And a lot of things I believe in law enforcement should change when it comes to missing persons, and they have to scrutinize information in order to determine what's the best course of action that we can take. If they believe that a child has gotten into a vehicle, so and so snatched my child, put him in a car, ran. Okay, Amber Alert,
Right.
bingo. I didn't see anyone snatch a child, put him in a car. They got to be around here somewhere. Okay, endangered. And so that's what they're using. They're using these types of calls to separate an individual who's being trafficked by a vehicle, moving by a vehicle, taken by a vehicle with people in it, and or non-vehicle
Mm-hmm.
aspect. you know
Well, here's the thing: if you use the criteria that Tennessee sets, okay, and this is what the conversation was earlier today. If you, I'm indirectly speaking about somebody that also lives in Tennessee, without being a dramatic drama thing. Okay, Tennessee believes these three things right here are what should constitute an Amber Alert. Not all five of what the recommended criteria is,
hmm
just those three. The fourth one is the fourth one is if an outside of Tennessee state agency is requesting an Amber Alert and they can prove that the child has a direct path into or through Tennessee, then they'll issue an Amber Alert.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only based on these three, and these are what was confused earlier today of what an actual Amber Alert criteria is.
Okay. So, in your mind, based upon this information, what do you think should change?
I think there's got to be a little bit more consideration for age and circumstance. In the case of Azan Lisby, it's not cookie cutter. It's not not all. You just can't stamp down a cookie cutter into cookie dough and come out with a perfect form for to put on a baking sheet. It's one of those things where you got to look at the police were investigating the parents for a related death of a child. They're in custody of a child that nobody knows the whereabouts of. I think something like that should factor into it. And in that case, regardless of it being their parents, because there is an investigation ongoing,
Right. Mm-hmm.
it warrants an Amber Alert.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is a fine, thin line as to what they can call an Amber Alert and what they do not call for an Amber Alert. In most other states, so to speak, only because, right here where it says there's enough descriptive information about the victim and the abduction. In other words, that information has been confirmed for law enforcement to issue an Amber Alert to assist in the recovery of the child.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next criteria down is the abduction confirmed is a child aged 17 years or younger.
Right.
So they're being very specific here as to what would trigger them to enforce an Amber Alert right away.
Yeah. So no, I mean, I understand they want to try to limit it down, saying, oh, it should be only for abductions or anything like that. But in the situation for Azan Lisby, just as an example, I believe that warranted an Amber Alert because you had a potential risk of a child being in danger.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm not going to sit here and say, the second one takes priority over the third one or the fifth one, or that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying these are all great steps.
Yeah.
In a little bit more detail about circumstances or
Right.
a little bit of allowance. Say, if you have to go to a judge and a judge signs off on it, then so be it. Just like a warrant.
Yeah.
If you go to a judge, if you have to go to a
Yeah, Muffin Top brings up a very good point. If you notice what Muffin Top said, if the parents have a shady history, that should also be taken under consideration.
and I was about to get to that. I was bringing up America True Crimes point first.
Okay.
It is tricky because if Amber Alert keep getting issued and canceled 2 hours later, they will be ignored. And he's America. I don't know if you're male or female, so I apologize. I just started to call you a he, but it's an excellent point. This is why I'm saying that if you have to go to a judge and say in a sealed hearing or a sealed setting in judge's chambers for the judge's consideration, we want to consider issuing an, I apologize, American True Crime, her point. If you go to a judge, have them say, I think it warrants you issuing an Amber Alert. If it takes that extra step, even if it's delaying it 30 minutes while you're still searching and interviewing the parents and things like that, if that is a possibility, then I think it warrants doing so, because that just takes one person to go do that. Where you could have 50 still searching if your police force has that many.
And hence, once again, it sounds like training.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting point.
Training. It goes right back to law enforcement training when it comes to missing persons. They're used to dealing with robberies. They're used to dealing with shooting situations. They're used to domestic violence disputes. There are more calls for those kinds of items that keep them busy. Then when someone goes missing, it just seems, just from covering the Summer Wells case, the California City Boys cases, what happened to Cash Gernon, they seem like they're ill prepared to deal with missing person cases. They don't have enough equipment. They don't have enough people. They don't have enough resources. They're on limited funding, limited resources in order to take the proper steps in taking the right action at the right time to be more effective in locating a missing person. That's what I'm saying. And I just see this over and over and over and over again. It's like, wow, they're doing the same thing so and so did in Tennessee. And then they're doing the same so and so did in California. They're just following that old traditional history of when a person goes missing, here's how we are to conduct ourselves. And like you said, more and more people, the population grows in each state, each city, each suburb, each rural area in every state. They become, I think it's just my belief, I think they become more ill prepared to deal with someone going missing because it's showing up in the mainstream media. Every time a person goes missing, the parents get up there. So-and-so has a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old that went missing yesterday. It's been 7 hours. And, we get the story, but how is law enforcement responding to that missing person?
Yeah.
So once again, training goes back to law enforcement on, getting the tools necessary to have, depending on the jurisdiction that the person goes missing in, what resources to allocate right away.
Exactly. No, I agree with that.
Rather than, assume or prejudge an area and then send a few people out there. We'll send a couple of officers out there and check out the story and see what's going on. Now they've got to go out there, spend about 30 minutes getting this information, let's say from the parents, child goes missing. Now law enforcement has determined in a half hour after interviewing them on the spot that they need backup. Now they need search and rescue to be dispatched, and more time escapes from that. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh no, I completely understand. Yeah. And since we're using the case of Summer Wells disappearance as an example, Churchill was one of the first. As soon as the first officer was on the scene, Churchill Rescue Squad was already dispatched. Not many people realize that about that.
Yeah, we found that out through the radio dispatch call.
Right.
Yeah, it was interesting that was dispatched like that all together almost. It's like, yeah.
They knew the area. They knew that they didn't have the time to play a game of we're just going to sit down and interview. We need all available hands to searching, and that's exactly what they did.
Right.
This is why, for instance, when it first happened, I was one of the people said, don't criticize Hawkins County. Don't be criticizing Hawkins County. Now, since then, I will say that I have issues with what they have done for searching. But the initial efforts of them searching, as a local for that, I will 100%, you know, you don't blame them at all for that.
Well, they got out there within a reasonable period of time. They expedited resources within a reasonable period of time. Just in, my estimation of, what I was able to gather from it.
Mm-hmm.
They were on the spot, in and around that area, stayed overnight, looking at night with helicopters and everything.
Yeah.
So they were on point,
Oh yeah.
to all be out there, implementing a search effort.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And in fact, in Summer Wells, it wasn't until she had been reported missing for over 6 hours at the point. It was almost 7 hours
Mm-hmm.
when the Amber Alert was issued.
Right.
Because they had exhausted everything else at that point. Because it was first reported she walked off the hill, or believed that she walked off the hill. So their first thought was, let's get a manhunt in the woods. Let's get shoulder to shoulder. Let's get as much ground as we can get covered. Let's find her.
Right.
And that is an appropriate response in that situation when it was first reported. But of course, so many stories have been spun and wove and twisted and twirled that it's changed 100% over. I'm sorry. I'm watching the love fest that's going on in my chat here over some catfish, and I'm going, man, I just had something before my
Turkey
live.
girl. She got some catfish. Oh, we got some catfish. I'll be listening.
Nothing wrong with getting some fresh caught catfish and having a fish fry.
That's it.
If I could be there, I would be there. That's mm-hmm.
You best believe I'd be there. Get some cornbread and hook that baby up.
Card team was not brought in immediately because they thought that it was just a missing child that went for a walk off the family property and into the woods.
Yeah.
Card team was not called in for till later in the day on the 16th, after the Amber Alert had been issued.
Yeah, and after they knew that they spent enough time to exhaust that possibility of an immediate finding. Let's get the card team. Now they're part of the FBI, obviously, right?
Yes, they are FBI. Card team is a specialized team that is focused on
child abduction response deployment.
Yeah, I think that's what CARD stands for. That sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what I was trying to remember. But that's what CARD team does, is they only handle child abduction situations. When they're involved, and depending on the extent of it, it can go as far as being the Secret Service being involved. If they believe that the person is abduction for reasons of SA, Secret Service actually will get involved at that point. But if they don't believe that it is a abduction for those purposes, it's a custody issue versus over the other, or it's a kidnapping related to gang related, mafia related, CARD team will be involved in that as well. Mm-hmm. And that can go all the way up to being Secret Service as well. And we have another visitor, Mr.
Congratulations,
Bossman.
my brother.
Mr. Bossman Blake, thank you
Hey,
very
Mr.
much.
Boss Man Blake is up in the house.
In the building.
In the building. Boom.
But Double Rainbows, if that answers your question, please let us know, because Card Team is very narrow focused, whereas a lot of other departments will cover other areas as well. Like if you were to mention white collar crime, you're not just talking about white collar crime. You're talking about art theft. You're talking about fraud cases. You're talking about the different banking related crimes that are all go to that as well. So Card Team is very narrowly focused. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing today? And Bossman, I didn't want to ignore you. I didn't want to. No, I wasn't trying to ignore you. I was just trying to finish my point before I went on to saying how you doing, and thank you for joining me tonight, or us tonight, and thank you for the congratulations. I appreciate it.
No, man, you good. I understand how it works. You gotta acknowledge your chat, man. So hey, I understand, man. You ain't talking to somebody who don't know how it goes. So salute, do what you do, my brother.
I got it. I got you. I got you. I got you. The three of us have.
Oh, my fault. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the three of us have had some very deep and very interesting conversations, even if it means dabbling into something that's controversial. The three of us have always handled it on a very respectable level with each other. And I was going to say that I know my mods have been dropping links for these for John Q and Bossman, but if you don't know who they are, you come from me from another channel. I know some people come from Nita's World. Please check them out, check their links out, subscribe to them so you get notifications when they go live. And I know these two are at the top of the list. I mentioned earlier that about the round table that's going to be happening. These Bossman Blake and John Q are pretty much the organizers of it. And so a lot of it is their work. So a while ago, while you, John Q, were fixing your icon issue.
Yeah.
We were lightly talking about that. So if you would go into a little bit more about that.
Oh, the round table. Well, you got to check out Table Talk. Table Talk. We did a Table Talk discussion several weeks ago with Miss 54 Keys in regards to a brand new project that we are undertaking called the Round Table. And what it is let's just say folks who are content creators, subscribers, audience members, folks that have been following a case or cases, come together and pool their resources into a place called the Round Table, where we can discern all of the case facts, case documentation, whether it be an autopsy, a toxicology report, crime scene photos, video surveillance footage, et cetera, et cetera. And we can all give our insight and perspective points as to how to understand the information. Having folks who have paralegal background helps us to understand how the laws work and how documents are arranged and what they mean. There's a big difference between, let's just say, a complaint document from the court versus an indictment versus any kind of legal document. It's always good to have someone who understands the legal terminology and meaning, because it's all based on interpretation, as well as someone who may be a registered nurse, practicing physician, who understands the medical field and can help us to understand certain medical terminology and language when it comes to toxicology and things of that nature. So crime scene photos, it's always good to have someone who can give their points of view based on photographs, photo development, um, also video surveillance footage. It's also good to have someone who understands software, who understands video camera equipment, how it works, how it operates, how software equipment works, how it operates. Can videos be manipulated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So having those folks contribute to a specific area called the roundtable uh, to educate and to work in harmony and balance with honesty and integrity, all to seek and find the truth out about a particular incident, event, or case that we're working on. That's what the roundtable is all about, in short.
Yeah, it's going to be a great thing to happen because when John Q and I talked about it, and John Q and I talked about myself having a seat at the round table, shall we say? My thought on it was is that we're definitely going to be drawing a line in the sand of saying these are the people that are and putting on not on display but giving everybody a forum that is very serious about bringing out the honest truth. No matter if we like what the honest truth is about a case, we're going to present the honest truth. Even if it's something that we later dismiss as being it's too corrupt of information to trust, we're still going to present it.
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
everybody has the right to know the truth.
Right. And that kind of reminds me of something 54 said. She was working a case for a family, and what she saw went against what the family wanted to hear. And we have to be 100% transparent, honest. It's just in case, let's say, for instance, someone asks us to work a case for them, or look into a case for them. If we don't see what they want us to see, doesn't mean we're gonna just say, "Okay, I understand what you're saying," and we're gonna push that narrative. Nah, that's not gonna happen. We gotta stay transparent and 100% honest on the facts. Now, when it comes to opinions, of course, opinions are opinions. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I don't want to ever do is work off of theories. But facts is the most thing important when it comes to working these cases.
Right. And it will come to a point at some time in any one of these cases where, and it's a matter of perspective. It's a matter of perception and then a matter of perspective. There are going to be some that see the glass half full. There are going to be some that'll see the glass half empty. One of the things that the glass has in common is that it's being used by the two different entities to describe what it is: half full, half empty.
Right.
But it's being
Absolutely.
utilized, and hence the truth. If it is half full and half empty, hence the truth is there. And either way, we're not going to be focusing too much about how full the glass is to try to avoid seeing how empty the rest of it is, and vice versa. If it is half full and half empty, hence the truth is before us.
I agree.
Yeah.
American True Crime, I think it was you that was asking about that earlier about what the roundtable is. Does that help explain it to you? What we're looking to do or what these gentlemen have set it up to be going forward? Typically, this is going to happen on Sunday nights, from my understanding. Not saying that it's going to always be Sunday night. It might change because of scheduling and accommodate. If we need to bring in a guest or something like that, we're going to try to accommodate them if they cannot do it on a Sunday night. But it's pretty much going to be on Sunday nights. In fact, John Q has been having the past few on Sunday nights.
I know that, We haven't, at this point, just to bring everybody up to date, we haven't really designated a specific date yet because we're still working on the first live premiere of the roundtable, and we're getting things together behind the scenes right now for that very first roundtable premiere, where we go live and we explain what the roundtable is, and that's going to be one of the most important messages for folks in the YouTube streets to get before we begin delving into casework that we're proposing to do, covering various different cases and coming together as a unit to explore that case and find out what the facts are, and then be able to present them from the round table to the audience that joins us.
Yeah, I thought it was better to wait for you because you two are the brains behind the organization of it, to allow you to explain it better than I possibly could. So I mentioned it, and I knew there was a question about it. It just
Boss can explain it a whole lot better than I can.
You do a damn good job doing it. You know that.
Say, look, we're coming together. We're going to find out what the hell happened, and we're going to bring it to you loud and clear and put it on the table. How's that?
Absolutely.
When all said and done, you're going to know.
Fact-based information only.
Right.
The rest of it, the other part of it, we're going to entertain.
Absolutely. But trust me, when I say that we're going to look at things that we may not present, we're going to take a look at things that behind the scenes that, like I was saying, we might have to decide it's too polluted or too dirty. The source of it's too dirty, or we just don't trust that information. We're going to have that all pushed out and spoken up of before between who's going to be involved in that particular session. That it's going to that they're going to have already discussed this privately.
Right. Well, if we find information in any case that's corrupt, police reports, autopsy, toxicology, crime scene photos, video surveillance footage, you name it, we're going to present that corruption of that evidence, of that information. That's what the roundtable will do. If we don't find any, and it does hold the line of integrity within the case itself or the investigation itself, everyone's acting accordingly. We have all the information. Then we can operate smoothly, and we can present that once again as the factual based truth of the matter. Either way, if it's corrupted, we're going to tell it. If it's not corrupted, we're going to tell that too. Tanya, that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it.
Tanya Daniels, thank you for joining us. I just saw you come in. I appreciate it.
Tanya Daniels is in the house. Much love to you.
There he goes again with that radio voice, I swear.
So that's pretty much in a nutshell what the roundtable is. Once we premiere the very first live, we're going to be introducing ourselves to that audience. Everyone's all over the place, and not a lot of folks that, let's just say, are in 54 Keys' audience is a part of my audience, and vice versa. Or any other content creator that may be on panel, their audience will be different than mine different than theirs. We're able to share and bring together those audiences that follow our channels, follow our content, and put everything, so to speak, during the live under one roof, where the whole group of different audiences can, exchange ideas, meet each other, and things of that nature. And, obviously, get some education as to what we're doing, get some education as to a lot of the fact-based information that we are looking to present, because that's definitely what we're going to be presenting. And and to have a good time. It should be a very good experience for folks uh, to walk away with some value. We saw like 5 content creators on panel, getting along, talking about casework, no drama, no this, no that. Um, they have some of them have a difference of opinion, but yet, respect each other's opinion. Give it to, and wow, that's just different. And that's what the roundtable consists of. And we're able to share that experience with everyone.
John, you're being asked a specific question to you. Tanya has, Daniels is saying, she had something to give you in your email, but does not know if you can do much with it. Do you know what email she's referring to, or do you need your somebody to drop your email address so it can be sent to you?
Well, yeah, drop my email and you can send it to me, Tanya. I always tell people, my email is in the description box of every live video that I do. For those that want to get in contact with me, send me stuff, have me take a look at something. If I can do something with it, you will definitely get a response from me. If I can't do anything with it, you'll get a response from me. Either way, we're opening up our email boxes, Mr. Boss Blake, Miss 54 Keys, RJ, and there will be other creators. We're not going to release their names yet up until we're ready to do the premiere. And then we will, let everyone know who is a part of the roundtable, what email addresses you can send stuff to, who's working in the backgrounds, because we do have some folks working specifically, don't want to be on the panel, in the background, doing research, searching the internet, getting court documents, medical record, whatever it is that we need to understand and look at the case in its entirety. Those folks are valuable to us because they don't necessarily have to be on the panel. They can work behind the scenes, quietly behind the scenes, get the job done, and we'll be able to, present that information, their findings, during the course of the roundtable. And definitely give them credit. They want the credit. We will shout their names out. Hey, so-and-so's working with us. So-and-so's working with us. There are some parties that may not want that, and we'll respect that too.
Exactly.
But, which way it goes, we will definitely, make all options available to anyone that wants to make a contribution to the roundtable.
Exactly. And just to also say that if you do send any one of us emails, whether it's just a general question about something we covered in our lives, or if it's something, an idea for a story that you know of local to where you live that's not getting national attention, that you think of deserves national attention. If you do not want your name mentioned, let us know, because you will be just a source. We won't mention your name beyond that email, and your email address will never appear on anything, that any correspondence, any lives or anything like that. Your information will remain private.
And definitely, I just want to put emphasis on this. I'm not sure, John, you touched on this or not, but if the time that's required for this you can't put in, that's understandable. You know what I'm saying? Just, I can't do this. If you was one of the candidates and you realize like this is a little too much for me, I got a lot of other things going on, cool, just say that. You know what I'm saying? Because your time is definitely needed when we have these backstage meetings, um, where we're going over the case files and things like that. So it's not something that you have to do, but if you're interested and you come in and see this is too much, just say so. You know what I'm saying? It's going to require some of your time, your personal time. Of course, if you got a job, we understand that. But when it comes to, time off, we try to schedule these backstage meetings where we're all at home. You know what I'm saying? So just something to think about.
Good point, Mr. Boss Blake. Good point. It's a very flexible type of situation where, let me see if I can get an example. Okay, let's talk about summer wells just for a second. And RJ is, just got a chill up and down his spine just by me saying that.
I can go
Let's
on
talk
for
about summer
hours.
wells here for a second. Let's say we're focusing on summer wells case, right? And then we've got the round table. And there are those folks that behind the scenes doing further research than what's already, been out there or been made available out there. You'll have content creators that will present that information on panel. You'll have folks who are making contributions to the roundtable working behind the scenes, you know, uh, and according to your schedule, however which way you can make that contribution. I can't do it like today is Wednesday, but I'll have some time on Saturday and I can do some research and get it over to you via email, or if we can meet behind in a conference, closed doors, then I can present what I've been able to find. We're flexible. We're very flexible. So that's just to give you an example of how we're going to work. Some will be consistent and want to just hang on every word and go every single day, and that's fine. And then some will be able to maybe slip in a couple of hours, give or take. That's a great contribution too. And you work at your own flexible schedule to work with us, and we work with you in accordance to the same thing.
Right. It might be something like I was mentioning earlier, what I do with Carrie and I do with cosplay. If I'm running into a roadblock, or if I'm running into, I don't like the direction of something I'm researching is headed, we might turn something over to you and say, hey, look, I'm not going to give you the information of what I'm finding, but I want to see if you're finding the same thing or finding different, just to double check myself, because we can all accidentally put a set of blinders on, and sometimes just having that extra set of eyes to say, no, it's not exactly what you were saying. You're not far off, but it's not exactly what you're saying. It is going to be very key to all of us. So there's definitely if we have people that don't want to appear on a live, and for every one of us that does, land up with two researchers type persons, man, we're going to be able to get so much information out there in that type of situation. So we are always
Absolutely.
looking for more people to help out with this, even if you don't want to be on a panel.
Absolutely. Because once again, the core of it is obviously understanding, understanding that, we all perceive in different ways, all of us, every single one of us. It could be a car accident and I'm across the street. I see the same car accident you do. Police come up and say, anybody see anything? And I'll give them my interpretation of what I saw, which may be somewhat different in terms of words used, expressions. All of our points of concentration are different. Perception. Uh, we can only tell our story based on our perspective, how we absorb that story. And if there's similarities to it, and it's cohesive and it's congruent and it clicks, okay. I've always checked certain pieces of information that I presented on my channel with Boss Blake. And if he sees the same thing I do, he say, yep, John, I see the same thing. I say, okay, I just want to double check and make sure. Vice versa. There was an example that we did talk about behind the scenes. And I had sent Mr. Boss Blake some information. I said, take a look at this. I said, do you see what I see? And he goes, John, I see the same thing you see, brother. And that's it. And verification and a corroboration of information is the key to any investigation. No, that all fits, didn't it? Verification, corroboration, information of the investigation. Ooh. Boss Blake is back there. He getting ready to make a song out of that. Look out.
No, my fault. I heard what you're saying. You brought up a valid point and a great example. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just talking on the phone, so I have to mute my mic. So I'm not doing no music, John.
I hear you.
Music. No music. Not right now anyway.
Well, it's like I was going to say, it's like back when Boss Man, you and I were covering the mass shooting in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
There's things we were spitballing live with everybody, as we covered it, and we were just bouncing ideas off of each other. The one thing that comes to my mind is how I mentioned that, I'll get back to my main point in a second, but about the whole idea that there was a episode where I think it was Criminal Minds had done about the first responders were the targets. And it was eerily similar when you sat back and looked at all of what was going on. You had shooters from one direction, shooters from another direction. It was, and you ended up at one point with the police being in the middle of that. But Boss Man, go ahead. I know you wanted to chime in there.
No, go ahead. I'm listening to you, bro.
But what I was going to say is it's ironic that sometimes we can cover these stories and as close to as live as possible, and then turn around. What's it been? A month and a half, 2 months now,
right?
And there's not a mention of it in the news whatsoever.
It's man. I'm glad you actually brought that up, because when you had started Alive, you were like, if you have any cases that you've been interested in or you've been working or looking into that you haven't seen any updates in a while, we could talk about it. I damn near can put every case that I'm really into 100% and say that and send you every damn name. And it's crazy. I don't want to push this theory where I say they're just trying to make you forget about it or put something in front of your face to cause deflection. I hate to say that type of stuff, but sometimes it does feel that way. But in this case with the Buffalo shooting, or the Uvalde shooting, these are huge nationwide cases. And it makes you wonder, like, what happened? All of a sudden you don't want to talk no more? What's going on? So I get what you're saying, man.
Well, in the case of Uvalde, they can't speak anymore, other than the actions they have done of firing Pete Adonde. What his name? I think I have his name right. That's the only thing they can say, especially now with that $27 billion lawsuit, class action suit. And this is what I was actually going to talk about tonight, but I can't find. Check this out, folks. And if anybody can find anything beyond a news article, please let me know. Because I actually want to get my hands on a copy of the court filing.
Dude, I don't know if that
that
class action suit you're talking about is a part of the funds that they have that's supposed to go to the families. I'm assuming that might be something different. But I don't know if you heard about this. They have, like, matter of fact, it's not a part of that, because now I remember how they got this money. There's a lot of donations been sent in. I think it was in the millions. I want to say maybe 12, 20. I can't remember the exact number, so don't hold me to that. But they're like holding this money till like September, and they started this fund 2-3 months ago. And the family, it's a lot of the family members have not touched that money yet. Like, what are you waiting on? I know they done had funerals and I'm not gonna say all of them didn't have insurance to take care of that, but at the same time, it's like you dictating when this money is given to these people. When in actuality, if it wasn't for the law enforcement, let me stop. They probably wouldn't be going through this. So you should be doing anything I think in your power to get these people funds to help, because I know they're going through a lot. You know what I'm saying? I truly believe that area that we're talking about is not no rich neighborhood. It could be from middle class to lower. So I'm pretty sure they need the help, and I don't like the way they do on them people.
Well, there was, and this is pure speculation I'm about to say, folks. So please take this with a grain of salt. Okay. I'm going to put it out there right now. Take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt. All right. There was a shoe manufacturer, and I want to say their plant in Texas or whatever it was, whoever it was, it may be out of Texas, that was going to go and donate shoes, sneakers, to the kids that were that were in Uvalde Elementary School, Robin Elementary School, when the shooting happened. Okay, here's the speculation part. The school board is supposedly have interfered with that happening, saying that the older kids that don't have money should be getting new shoes before elementary kids that were in the school. The purpose of this shoe company giving the elementary school kids in that school new shoes wasn't for monetary gain. They were doing it purely out of charity to show that the community supports them going to school again this year. When I covered this story, for those that were with me then, you will remember I said that they had to do one thing, and that school district did not do it. Okay? Whether it be a week later or 2 weeks later, whatever the time frame was, after they got that school cleaned up, even if they had to board up those two classrooms so nobody would see into them, those kids needed to go back to that school for one day, even if a half day. And they never did it. So there's going to be a lot of problems for those children going to Robb Elementary, whether they were in the same grade or not. There's got to be problems that school district does not know how to deal with. And this is why I want to get my hands on a copy of that class action lawsuit, because I believe a lot of it is going to be for just that. You hear this $27 billion number, and it's an astronomical number. When you think about it, you hear whenever somebody hit the lottery gets up to $1 billion.
Did you say billion?
Billion with a B.
Jesus Christ.
But if you imagine the long-term care that these kids may need with psychological help.
Yeah, you got a point. Definitely got a point.
May actually be justified.
It is. I mean, you got to think about it. They fired the chief of police. So to me, that's justice. That's justifiable in itself, because if they weren't in the wrong, he wouldn't have lost his job. Mm-hmm. So I definitely want to see how this turned out. I didn't know that number was so large.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm trying to get my hands on a copy of it, because the details of it is what's going to tell you. I've heard through reading news articles that that almost every single police department that responded, or every single agency that responded that day to the elementary school, is actually named in the class action lawsuit. So they're not just going after Uvalde, they're going after every single department that responded.
$27 billion.
And there was outside there were outside departments outside of Uvalde that responded as well.
Yes, there was, I believe it was 8 different departments that responded.
Yeah. Yep.
Man, hey, it's almost like it's almost like Rowdy Bryant. Rowdy Bryant, I think is his name, the dude in the Ahmaud Arbery case who filmed it. It's like, damn, I should have mind my damn business. I wouldn't have been put in this. But it's like I'm pretty sure Uvalde Police Department probably called some of these departments for help. But it's like, damn, now you done got us sued too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But they had a job to do and they didn't do it. So
They didn't do it. That's right. They did
Exactly.
not do it. They got stuck in the hallway, stayed in the hallway for 77 minutes. And, it was 2 doorways they could have breached at any given time, given a distraction at the windows, which they should have done with snipers, making sure that, scoping those windows to look for this guy in between the median beam that separated the 2 rooms. It kept him busy, at least to a point to where they could have give a green light to the guys in the hallway to hit both those doors simultaneously, because you can only point a gun in one direction. And if you got 2 guys, 2 guns coming from different directions, you're going to knock that dude right out. Could have taken him out right there. But
Mm-hmm.
for all those guys with all those equipment, all the forces that they had available for 77 minutes to elapse, and little children and teachers dying, that was a huge mistake, huge blunder. This guy should have been fired, on the spot, in my opinion.
So, my opinion of the situation hasn't changed. This is a situation where, Carrie, thank you for that information. I appreciate that. I'll say that in just one second. This is a situation, in my opinion of this, it has not changed in the slightest. It's a situation where the police could have fired first and asked questions later. And there's not one person in this nation in their right mind in that circumstances would have done anything but raise those police up to be a hero for saving the kids.
exactly.
The one time that nobody would criticize if they shot first and asked questions later.
Yeah, I had a case on my true crime or my community crime page where it was a fight going on. I guess it was in this. I guess it kind of reminded me of that case in Philadelphia. They was outside in the city streets, and this guy had a gun, and it was a crowd of people around. The police approached him. He tried to get away, but he ended up going into a crowd of people. And when he turned around, he had the gun in his hand. Remember, he's around a bunch of people. They shot him immediately. And guess what they did? They hit several other people too. You know what I'm saying? But those people survived. He died. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think he was gonna hurt anybody with his gun, but they shot first, asked questions later. And I feel like that's just what Uvalde should have did.
Okay, so what I was asking Carrie, thanking Carrie for in the middle of that is that she was giving me information in the background saying that this has actually not been filed yet, and that's why I'm not able to find it. It's said to be filed in September once the full investigation has been completed. So that would be a good explanation of why I cannot find any the court filings.
Right, because it's a lot of folks that's going to be a part of that, and they want to make sure that they cover everyone that they want to include in that court proceeding, in that civil proceeding.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Muffin Top, you asked an excellent question. Unfortunately, that from what I understand is the principal just got dismissed within the past month. If you guys know a better date than that, please let me know. But I don't know about her being rehired at another school. Question Muffin Top was asking us. We're going to take it. No answer is we don't know.
What was that?
Saying that Muffin Top is asking is if the principal did the principal get hired at another school, and that all I know is that she got dismissed within the past month, and I don't know if she has been rehired at another school district. I was saying if you guys had heard anything different.
Oh no, I haven't heard anything that would that I could speak on regarding that.
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah, like I said, I hadn't heard anything. So well, I am looking. Among my other cases, in between when I can, when I mean that is my breaks at work or after work when I'm not live, or before work when I'm not live, I do routinely check if there's new information coming out. Double Rainbows, you did ask a while ago, and I don't know the question went to. Is there a teacher involved in? There it is. Are any teachers suing? The information I've seen so far on the class action lawsuit is yes, there is teachers that are named as complainants or the filers or however that goes, but they are on the same side as the parents and the students.
Yeah, because once that court document does come out, where the filing is official, it's going to have everybody in there, and it's going to be one hell of a massive document. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was my misunderstanding. I thought it had been filed already, but it appears that I'm a little bit ahead of that when it's getting filed, which is why I couldn't find any information on it.
Well, it'll be right around the corner. I mean, we're going into September by the end of the weekend.
Absolutely.
They could surprise us, and by Friday, by Thursday.
Absolutely.
Just before Labor Day. Oh yeah, by the way, court filing was complaint was filed by the folks in Uvalde, Texas, regarding the Uvalde, Texas shooting. And this is the massive $27 billion civil suit that's been filed by the court. And bang, and this is where, like we were talking about earlier regarding the roundtable, folks that do background research can find out where those court documents are and how to access them and get a PDF file on it and put it together, and bingo, we can hence therefore see exactly what the filing is all about, share that information with folks who have been following the case.
Exactly.
And it's just like the indictment of the of Jacqueline and Trezell West for the California City Boys. When the indictment, hit, they were arrested, March 1st, taken into custody. And shortly thereafter, the the DA, Cynthia Zimmer, made a press conference regarding what had happened and explained the whole situation. And we were able to get the actual indictment document.
Absolutely. American True Crime, thank you very much. If Carrie or anybody can go ahead and drop their link, her link, in the chat room, would appreciate it. They've been actually really nice to talk to tonight. So hopefully we can work together in the future or converse further in the future. Appreciate you stopping by, American True Crime. But it's like I said tonight. I didn't really set a topic as far as like we were going to be narrowly focused on one and just kind of bounce all over kind of deal, answer questions type of deal that may have been ignored in other chats or anything like that kind of night. So that's what my goal was for tonight, in a way to thank everybody for subscribing to my channel. To, make sure they weren't overlooked, not only in my chat, but in other chats as well.
Well, I just subscribed to America True Crime. Got to help America True Crime get their subs up. As far as they got it's about 1,000 and change here. Yeah. Good looking page. Very good looking page. Videos, playlists, community board. Good. We got to work on premiering your channels, getting your channel, your featured channels under your channels tab. Like if I can do this real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, great. So you can see what John Q is doing. Let me just share this real quick. Boop. Then you guys can see it. That is America True Crime. And you see, I'm subscribed.
Yep.
Okay. And where did I have it? Oh, okay. I thought I hit the bell over here. There it is. Hit the bell. If I go here, like what I was saying is that your channels tab here has no featured channels. Well, once you go to your studio, you can go in there, go onto your channels and add what channels that you'd like to feature. RJ's channel, Bossman's Blake channel, my channel, pretty much the channels that you follow in regards to information that you enjoy getting for your case. So let's take a look at John Q. I'm going to go to my channels. These are my featured channels right here. See anybody you notice? We got RJ's channel right there.
Oh, yeah, there I am.
Yeah, that's sitting up there, amongst Queen Talks Crime, Community Crime Network, 54 Keys, Bossman Blake, Chris Thorne, Grizzly True Crime.
I appreciate it, man.
Chasing Truth. David Robinson's Please Help Find Daniel's channel is here. So that this way you have a featured channel section for anyone that goes to your channel. They want to see who you ride with. And these are the folks that you can have specifically in that section. In the About section too, real quick, you can give a little synopsis as to, what your channel is all about. Mine is currently working on missing persons and requested crime case investigations. That's what I do. And so please check the following channeling program schedule below for Table Talk, Cue the Truth, and then John Q's casework, where I give case report summaries and updates. Those are the three things I do on my channel. And if you have any direct comments or would like to talk directly with me concerning any of the program content, you can always email me here. And that's pretty much short and dry, quick and to the point. And that's what I wanted to share.
Well, I'll definitely have to be looking into that because it's something I never knew how to do until just this moment when you said that's how you do it. So while you were showing that and explaining that, not that I wasn't paying attention because I will be taking care of that for myself, my channel. I was given information, Carrie, again, thank you very much, that the former principal from Robb Elementary was given a different role within the school district. She is now the district's assistant director of special education. So I don't know if that's supposed to be like a lateral move or maybe even a demotion move. But
it's a different position, so
it's a different title.
Yeah.
But she was not after her after the investigation concluded, which she was placed on administrative leave during. They changed her to being a different position within the school district.
Mm-hmm. Well, they'll always make changes after, an event like that, obviously. Most folks don't want to stay in a traumatic environment, and some are definitely emotionally affected, which will be affected for quite some time until that begins to dissipate over time. And then there are those job-related that obviously changes have to be made.
Absolutely. 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
Sometimes making a change, though, is a good thing. Her degree could be that she has a doctorate in special education. And she could have been in a position where maybe she wasn't in her comfort zone. It was out of her comfort zone. And she wasn't necessarily the point of emphasis that there was a problem with. But to place her in a different position within the schools district can be a good thing. We have to make a change to that school. Change, because of the tragedy that did happen.
Most certainly.
But it's not something that this particular person deserved to lose their job over. Being the principal. Pete Donde, that's a whole different ball of wax, folks. Just giving my opinion. John said it earlier. He deserved to be fired the next day.
Oh, yes. They waited too long. Too long. Him walking up and down and shaking people's hands and like they did something, like they were heroes. I could not believe that. He's shaking this officer's hand and going over here to shake this officer's hand, walking the streets and whatnot, like nothing happened. I said, is this guy real?
Yeah.
And sure enough, after the state had convened their meeting to review that case, with law enforcement officials, who gave them bullet points and all kinds of information as to, what they did, how they did it, what failed, what didn't work. Radios don't work in the school. We had to use cell phones and all kinds of stuff. It really shook them up enough to make them look at this and say, okay, so what changes would you recommend? to
Right.
improve these situations so that this doesn't happen again.
Right, and that's one of the reasons I think they actually did to decide to if it is a lateral move was the best case, because it's she had filed what I was just reading was she had lodged filed paperwork saying that the Wi-Fi system was insufficient. The repeater system, if that's was also involved the Wi-Fi. The repeater system is not only for cell phone signal, but it's for the police bands and things like that. That if you're not familiar, if anybody's not familiar with CB systems and things like that, and what a repeater system is, the repeater system was, it was insufficient. But they had proof of her filing paperwork saying that to the school district, and the school district did nothing about improving those that hardware.
Yeah, so a lot is going to come out of that in terms of improvements, so that this way, nothing like that ever happens again. And most other schools around the country could model that to make sure their systems are in place to avoid anything like that from happening where they are located. Doors that have good locks on them, security based locations. They had a camera inside the school too. We actually saw the guy enter the door, went down a hallway like he owned the place, and just decided to step into a classroom and do what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was just, that video surveillance footage of him walking in and cutting it down that hallway. And there was a kid over to the left of that camera who paused and stopped and looked around that corner, saw him walking down the hallway with that AR-15 and decided to run the other way. It's like, wow, how lucky could you get?
Right. He heard a commotion, peeked around the corner, realized there was a problem, and went back into hiding.
Ran the hell up out of there. Oh, yeah.
That was one smart young man.
Mm-hmm.
No, Carrie, you're exactly right. There is no excuse for what he did. However, this is also why I look forward to, now that I know it's not going to be filed for a few more weeks, let's say, I look forward to getting my hands on and exhaustively, and I'm sure I will send this to John Q and to Bossman Blake as well.
Oh, yeah.
But exhaustively, if I get it before they do or they get it before I do, I'm sure that they'll automatically send me a copy.
Oh, yeah, you better believe it. You better believe it.
Exhaustively spend a weekend or a week, however long it takes, to read through that the court filing on that, because it's going to, from my understanding, is from what I've been hearing and reading, it's based on the same model of a lawsuit that Sandy Hook had used, but it is also calling into the systematic failures that the Texas Senate had pointed out.
Right.
So it is going to be a heavy read.
I'll bet. Oh, and real quick, just before it just hit my thought process here.
Mm-hmm.
Is Double Rainbow still in the chat?
She was a little bit ago. I don't know if she actively still is. She was about 7 minutes ago.
7 minutes, okay. Because I wanted to make sure that I connected with her to email me tonight so we can exchange numbers. Because Double Rainbows has been a top moderator on my channel, and I wanted to make her aware of just a couple of items and a a good telephone conversation. If she would like to have one, uh, would definitely bring her up to speed as to a couple of things I found out that I wanted to share with her. So,
Uh,
but that's okay. I mean, if she's still here, great. If not,
I
I'll
have
be able
I
to let you.
haven't I have a way of reaching her. Hang on.
Oh, great, great. Yeah. Because if you have a way, let her know to email me so we can exchange numbers.
Hang on.
Okay. And y'all have been a fantastic chat audience tonight, hanging out with
I
RJ.
just got a thumbs
RJ.
up. I just got a thumbs up. I think she's aware.
Okay, great, great, great. Yeah, because I know that there was from yesterday's live table talk. She was able to come across some information, and I know that she's looking to pass that information on to me, and I just want to be able to acknowledge that information with her to let her know that I was able to find out some things about it. And I'm keeping, as you can hear me, I'm keeping it very, very vague.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. I understand that. Yeah. No, you're fine. That's cool.
Yeah, but I appreciate you having me on the panel at 2.5. I'm telling you, you're rock and rolling. Once again, congratulations
I
on the
appreciate that.
200 plus. The next thing you know, you'll be at 1,000, and you say, "Okay, I could feel this. All right, I could do
Yeah.
this."
Well, I already feel like I can do this. It's always going to be a more hobby than it is for me for some because some people get that 1,000 and then they go and hit that magical button that they think it is, and it's more of a burden.
Yes, if exactly, exactly, and like I said, I've always said on my channel, I'm happy to be small, happy that we have a good intimate chat room whenever we do go live. It's
Mhm.
not hectic. It's not 1,000, 3,000 people, you're jumping all over on top of each other's comments, and you really can't read the chat too well. And things can get crazy along with the sex bots that jumping behind all this stuff and everything, and things can get so chaotic it takes you off your point and whatnot. So I'm just blessed to have what I have, and to share what I'm able to share on my channel, and to meet folks just like whom's in the chat tonight, and to be a part of your panel tonight, RJ, in celebration of your channel growth. And if there's anything that we can do to help your channel to grow even more, uh, so be it. You've got my 1,000% support.
Oh,
You
I
know,
appreciate that, and believe it or not, the most support I've actually you guys have done an amazing job supporting my channel, and I've appreciated it. And a lot of times I get more growth out of being on your panel, Bossman Blake's, or some other creators panel, and just mentioning my channel and being able to have a larger platform to speak. It's just it's taken time for my channel to catch on, but I get a lot of growth that way because a larger audience gets to hear what I'm saying, and they become impressed because it's I come with it. I bring it.
right?
When I go on to somebody else's channel and they have a topic they want my opinion on, I bring it.
Oh yeah, you've brought it on mine. All I had to say was just two words, and I knew that we were going to get into some real good conversation. Those two words are Summer Wells.
Oh.
Boom.
Man, when you bring up that name, it's just like, ooh.
I mean, that's how we connected, and we've gotten into some very detailed conversations, going back and forth, and it made the live all the more worth having it. getting into
Right.
those conversations, and of course encouraging you to start your own channel. Get it up and running. Don't wait, do it now, and we'll help you. We'll chip in and jump in and see what we can do to help you to grow and everything, because you have a good perspective on that case, as well as overall perspective on other cases and general information.
Oh
So
yeah. And
absolutely.
I look at it this way: is go big or go home. Either you're going to do it and you're going to do it right, or or don't bring it. That's the whole thing right there. The whole ball of wax to me. And that's why, like I said, I put out there earlier today that I was going to be talking about tonight about the about Uvalde, but I was not finding information. I was
Mhm.
not finding information on the class action lawsuit and things like that. And a couple hours ago, I gave it up to about a couple hours before I was going to go live, and I was like, nope, I got to change this. This is not going to work. It's either I'm going to bring it. I'm going to have a live. I might have a backup plan. Like I did tonight with switching what I was going to do later in the week to tonight.
Right.
But I was already prepared for that. So it may be like it sounded like a backup plan or plan B, but it really wasn't. It was just plan A for another show or
That's it.
another live.
That's it.
Um, but I was the either I'm going to find it or I'm going to go with having go with another presentation that I already have ready and comfortable feeling with that it's ready to go now. Which is tonight.
That's it. That's what keeps it solid right there. So, Muffin Top, thank you. And thank you all for joining tonight's live with RJ and celebration of his 200 plus and counting. And
Of course.
we will definitely keep in contact with you as always via email, phone call, text message. As soon as that document comes out, I know it's going to be hot off the press when we get it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So much love to your chat, and stay solid, brother, as you always are. And
Absolutely.
we will definitely be hightailing it up out of here tonight. I've got some things that I'm looking at on the Daniel Robinson case that I have to follow up on. So I'll be up for another few hours or so. I'm doing some map work. You know me and my map work.
It's like you. Oh yeah. Come on now. Hello. We're like minded like that. When we start to dive into that map, it's like, oh boy. 4 hours later, and we're still staring at the same square mile. Trying to figure out something, try to visualize what's there, or what's going on there. You start really getting into something there.
Yeah. So if I can show you something real quick, let me see if
Absolutely.
let me see if I can set it up before I leave. Let me see if I can set it up real quick.
Oh, well, it looks like he accidentally hit the wrong button there. I'm sure he'll be back in just a moment. I know I have it pinned at the top, but let's just go ahead and just to make sure, John Q. Because I'm sure he's like realizing what he did and looking for this right here. So, John, there you go. Uh, Sorry, I was reading some back chat stuff going on. Nothing I need to share here. So we're just waiting for John to come back, and I hope he realizes what he did. Absolutely. Summer Moon, Utah Wells, missing, Rogersville, Tennessee. from the Beach Creek community since June 15th, 2021. Any information, call TBI. And TBI phone number for Summer Wells. John, thank you very much for coming back.
Yeah, these things happen, don't they?
And just because didn't mean to hit my mic there, folks. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I bump into mine too. Let's see where we want to go.
Let's give everybody that phone number since it was mentioned in the chat room there. The phone number for TBI is 1-800-TBI-FIND, FIND.
Yeah, I'm just locating it now, so just give me a moment.
No, you're fine.
Okay, great. Because I wanted to show.
Oh, yeah. You guys don't want to get me started on that. Talking about Summer Wells, because we can go 4 more hours for talking about Summer Wells. I'm going to point everybody in the direction of, and if one of my mods want to grab it, John, if you've not had a chance to, I made a point of this on your live last night, watching Chris McDonough from Sunday Night Show.
Right.
Where he had a special person, an analyst. I don't remember her title. It was doctor or something. I don't remember off the top of my head. Did analysis on both Candace Bly's handwriting and Don Wells' handwriting. And it confirms a lot that everybody has been suspicious of, and I'll point you in the direction of saying that if you believe her handwriting analysis, it will tell you who is actually the main person behind Summer Wells' disappearance.
And what did you gather?
It's Candace.
Oh yeah, I mean,
but it's confirmation. It's confirmation to something we've always hinted at.
Day one, the last person that was with her, that was supposed to be responsible for her, was Candace.
Oh yeah,
no doubt.
But the handwriting analysis that she did pinpoints. If you pay attention to what she says, it pinpoints that Candace is the person, the main person, the main head person, even though you would not believe by the way she presents herself. And she goes into details of why she says this, that the handwriting points at this, that Candace is actually the supposed kingpin position of this whole entire thing.
I guess things down there in Rogersville happen real slow.
Tennessee time can go backwards sometimes.
Definitely. So yeah, I guess it's just another way they want to make sure that everything, their T's are crossed, their I's are dotted, and there's no, once they have you in the box, there's no way back. But now that you've got the map up here, and covering the Daniel Robinson case, a 25-year-old that went missing out of Buckeye, Arizona. This is the Sonoran Desert where he went missing from. Okay. And I'm showing you just a plain map. I'm not showing you my map work that I'm working on, but just I wanted to give an area to folks that we've been able to work with a different software called SOAR. And this gives a satellite imagery and everything on a much clearer aspect other than Google Earth or Google Maps. I was able to bump into this just listening to a conversation from the Kylie Rodney case. But Here we have the area where allegedly Daniel went missing, and he was working up here about a little over 2 miles in this location here. As you can see, the red water tank that was there at the time that Daniel went missing. He was supposed to meet a guy from another company by the name of Ken to work on this well site. Can everybody see that? Can you see that, RJ?
Yeah, I see it perfectly fine. I was just looking at the YouTube side of it, and I see it as well.
Okay, great. And then Daniel, allegedly, according to Ken, got in his car 6 minutes after having a brief conversation with this guy, gets in his car and heads south. And according to him, he said when he headed south and followed the road, and this is about a little less than a mile, 3/4 of a mile, he was supposed to come to the T section of this road in the desert. And I'm getting to it right about now.
You just passed a T.
Oh no, I'm getting to it.
Okay.
Which is here.
Oh, okay.
Which is right here. You see what I can do with this map?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I found this software, I said, "Uh-oh, I got a new toy to play with." And so he was supposed to make a left turn. A left turn coming from this direction back to the main gate that would lead him to Sun Valley Parkway here.
Mm-hmm.
But according to Ken, he didn't do that. He made a right turn and headed south and then west, like this. On the outside. This is according to Ken. This is all according to Ken. So I said, if I followed Ken's narrative, then Daniel must have came here at off of this Wagner Wash area, watered down area, hit this road here. And I wanted to see if this road had any connection with where they found Daniel's car. And with this satellite map, I was able to identify another intersection, which was here.
Yeah, I see it.
And find tire tracks that went east and kept going east up until it connected here. And I found another T. And I said, wait a minute, I didn't see this before. And this T area breaks off and then goes south again. And guess where Daniel's car was found?
At the end of it.
At the very end of it, right here. Now, if he didn't take this route, according to Ken, and then disappeared here where his car was found, if he continued to go south from where he was at the T here and past the utility station here, kept going south of that, he would have eventually found himself in this quarry. I said, could he have accessed that same point from the quarry? And sure enough, lo and behold, from this satellite image, you'd be able to see the road come out of the quarry, go into the same direction, leads to the same point.
I was going to say, it almost looks like it's a loop around. I didn't know that was a quarry, but it almost looks like a loop around from what I was seeing.
Yeah. Yeah. So this map, this satellite map here, allows me to see routes and roads a whole lot clearer than Google Earth and Google Maps. Up to date, giving longitude and latitude, as you can see down here in the lower left-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, So to have coordinates and everything else like that, and the ability to make certain markers, if I wanted to grab an arrow and actually use that arrow to point in some direction, I'd be able to do that, mark it, leave it, save it,
Right.
and be more descriptive in terms of showing exactly what direction I'm talking about. Oh, he went east. Well, east where? He went west. West where? How? You know.
Right.
So it does have some great tools on the side here that I was able to figure out and begin putting together a brand new map work on the Daniel Robinson case. So that's what I wanted to share and show real quick before I jump off.
Wow, that's actually something interesting, and I might have to look into getting it myself because that looks like it's relatively better than than some of the things that Google Earth and Google Maps allows you to do.
Right, right. So that's what I've been working on, and following the Kylie Rodney case for the new developments, whether the parents are going to be releasing the autopsy or elements of the autopsy to the public to let us know, you know, um, exactly what they found out happened to her, whether she drowned, and that's the way they're ruling it, or foul play, et cetera, et cetera.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Carrie. Thank you for dropping that a link to. I believe that's his father's YouTube channel. Please help find Daniel. I greatly appreciate you doing that and finding that information. And as Cosplay is saying, thank you everyone that stuck out with us for this long. Thank you
Yeah.
for hanging out in the living room with us.
And I will see y'all on the flip side. We'll be
Absolutely.
back at you. All right, RJ, have a good one, man.
Thank you, too, John. I appreciate that. I'm going to be wrapping up myself here in just a moment.
Okay. Much love to the chat. Love every single one of you. And be well and stay blessed with Godspeed. We'll see you next time.
Guys, and yeah, absolutely. Muffin Top, absolutely. It was a terrific evening. And like I said, I was actually planning on doing this later in the week, but I'm glad I did it tonight. It was a great night. John Q, thank you very much for joining me. Bossman Blake as well. We had another creator in the chat, American. I forget the creator's name now, but it was in the chat. But thank him her as well. Looking forward to checking out her channel. I did subscribe to that, so I will be checking that out. But my voice is starting to fade tonight, so I'm going to be short in my closing, guys. I want to thank everybody for coming out. American True Crime, that was it. Thank you, Muffin Top. My voice is starting to fade on me, so I'm going to be really short here. Guys, as always I say, if you know where your loved ones are tonight, give them an extra hug. Make sure they know they love you. That they know that you love them. Because, all these different stories, as tragic as they are, loving your family members and have them know that you love them is one of the most important things you can do in a day. No matter how much you might strife with them, have a disagreement with them, the fact is you still end up the day knowing that family member loves you, unconditionally loves you, is important. That's why I say that every single night. Guys, I want to thank you again. My name is RJ. This has been Conversations Living Room with RJ. Have a good night, all. I'm out.